help them get financing for it. And we've got great solutions at ServiceTitan that integrate all this and make it very easy for the techs right out in the field just to be able to offer the options. The financing is integrated, bam, bam, bam. Next thing you know, you're doing the job and you're the one that's looking up going, man, we're winning. I don't know what's going on, but we're crushing it.
Welcome to Mastering ServiceTitan, where we get expert advice from power users. I'm your host, Josh Liu, and today we have two really special guests. We're joined by Chris Hunter, the Principal Industry Advisor here at ServiceTitan, as well as Deanna Kawasaki, the Senior Director of Product Management, covering everything Titan Intelligence. And today's episode is a little bit different. We're going to look back at trends from 2024, look ahead into this year, 2025, what are some trends coming up, and then we'll wrap up with a few actionable insights for ServiceTitan tips to get the most out of ServiceTitan here in 2025. And so to kick us off here, Deanna, I'd love to recap. Looking back at the year of 2024, what are some industry trends across consumer, housing, labor that kind of shaped where we're at now?
I would say the biggest trend that I've heard consistently and I've seen in the data is the consumer market and the amount of the credit crunch that happened and how that rolled into us. So just like running back a year prior to that in 2023, we saw that charging start to happen, right? People were using their credit cards more. Inflation was still high. They were still reeling. In 2024, the challenge is that they maxed their credit cards. They used everything, whereas they were charging in 2023. They just didn't have the room in 2024. And we saw that. We saw that with the replace versus the repair ratio. So we try to identify that in the benchmark. And I know Chris was also talking to folks that are seeing that. They're seeing that in their overall ticket price, their overall revenue, and how businesses started to need to look at solutions for that. I think Chris even talked a little bit about that previously, which was like financing. This is a time when consumers are crunched for credit. They don't have the room on their credit card. So what can businesses do and not just look at discounting? So what are the options for businesses? I think Chris had some great insight.
Deanna introduced us to the word bimodal last year, or introduced me to the word, because everybody I talked to had two different stories. It was like you could talk to a contractor in the same exact town, had the same exact business mix, and one of them would be like, man, we are crushing it. We're killing it. I can't believe it. We just keep growing, and I don't even know what's going on. We're doing really well. And then you would talk to another one that'd be like, man, we're just struggling. We cannot seem to get this thing going. The leads are not there. People aren't buying. Everyone's got an excuse. Nothing's happening. And it was like, what is happening? So Deanna summed it up. She's like, man, we're seeing growth overall, but there's two humps. There's one group that's really excelling and another that's lagging behind. So my quest was, okay, what are they doing different? And this was hard. This was very, very hard to put our finger on, because it wasn't just like the data was obvious, like, oh yes, everyone in the Southeast is doing X% better, or yes, shops that are above X number in revenue size are doing a lot better. No, it was very mixed. Like you said, it was all sizes, it was all trades, all business mix, all regions. So we did some deep diving, and one big thing was this financing. We found that those that were just very, very consistent upon providing a superior customer experience by, one, providing multiple options and then offering financing on just about every single call they went on, they outperformed the others. So it makes sense when I hear Deanna's data and all the stuff about the economics behind it and the science, and then I hear the anecdotal side of it, it helps me really tie it all together. So yeah, consumers are crunched. So it's very simple. If they're crunched, give them more options, easier ways to pay. If they don't have the money up front, help them get financing for it. And we've got great solutions at ServiceTitan that integrate all this, and make it very easy for the techs right out in the field just to be able to offer the options. The financing is integrated, bam, bam, bam. Next thing you know, you're doing the job and you're the one that's looking up going, man, we're winning. I don't know what's going on, but we're crushing it,
Great advice. Financing is huge. And actually, episode 2 of this podcast, Mastering ServiceTitan, we had Alyssa Rogers on. I think she's in the top 1 or 5%.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's amazing, and she really mastered this topic of integrated financing. So for those listening, go back and check out episode 2 to deep dive into financing. I did want to call out that bimodal distribution, and in 2024, we had that residential trades report. It looked like 63% of people who filled out that survey said that they were thriving. We had another 19% who said they were surviving, and then 18% who were struggling. And so it looked like that 60-40, 60% thriving, and then a huge bucket of folks who are struggling, who are surviving. And it looks like that's the current state of the industry now. That bimodal is carried on through 2024. How about looking ahead? I know we're partway through the year already, but Deanna, what are some trends so far looking into 2025 and what's to come next?
So in the current benchmark report, it encapsulates 2024 in history and then trends in 2025. So I would say for those who haven't downloaded it, please do download it so that you can see what the trends are. That said, 2 trends are emerging that we identified are going to be even bigger than we anticipated and just going nuts. One of them is the skilled labor shortage. This isn't anything new. We've been talking about this for a couple of years. How are we going to do this? And we've been experiencing this since COVID, where we had a bunch of folks that were more on the older side. They kind of left the industry. The expectation was they would bounce back. We've seen this before in other times where they leave the industry for a little bit, but then they boomerang back. This is the first year, this is the first time this event, they didn't boomerang back, which then resulted in a shortage, kind of that shortage coming up. That shortage has just gotten even bigger. And the reason that the skilled shortage is going to be even bigger than we anticipated and is coming fast and harder than we thought is since the new administration, what's happened is to date, and this is, end of March, to date, since the new administration came in, there's approximately $4 trillion of committed investment that businesses coming into the U.S. because of the matched tariffs and commitments by the new administration, which is awesome for the growth of the U.S. and things. But if you think about that, I'm actually looking at where this growth is anticipated, which states are going to get hit. So not all states are going to get equal, but what you're thinking would be the biggest states. Texas is going to get a huge influx. The UAE has committed 1.4 trillion plus other businesses for the increase in gasoline, 1.4 trillion. Other infrastructure projects like Apple have committed $500 billion or $500 million in more building of their infrastructure, manufacturing. I'm in Arizona. Phoenix has got commitments from microchip companies and things like that, semiconductors. Now, if we think about these, you've got the infrastructure costs. So people are going to need to build things. They're going to have HVAC units, whether it's commercial on those. Now, with these huge projects bringing in labor all over, North Carolina, Florida, I'm seeing them all over. With that, there's going to have to be people, which means people are going to transfer to these states. We saw a migration happen, during COVID out of California and into neighboring states like Arizona, Oregon, and things. You're going to see a migration to these states again. What that means, now you're going to have housing in there. So not only just temporary housing like apartments, but new construction, renovation of other buildings as people move from residential. So you've got this huge flux of not only new construction and commercial, but also residential servicing, because now what's going to happen is people are going to feel comfortable to move. So you may think that your labor is great right now. You've got people and they're great. My concern is if another industry comes into your area and they're willing to pay 2 times the amount, what are your techs really going to do? I'm like, they may love you, but it's going to be a lot bigger salary, possibly. What do you do?
Yeah, well, and I've seen it before. They build these big, plants and things like that, and some guys just like that steady 8 to 5 air conditioning job working at those places, so that there is a chance to lose some like that too. But Deanna, you brought up a good point. I was going to even ask this. So we see what was the number again? You said how many?
$4 trillion in like
with
60 hours with a T.
Trillion, yeah. So my immediate mind was, wow, commercial or construction is going to boom. Wow, they're going to really need the people. But then when you brought it back home, you said, wait a minute. Yes, they are going to boom, But guess what? You got to have people that feel those things, and they're still going to build a lot of houses. They're going to be there's going to be a lot of moving. And we did a study at ServiceTitan here a few years back that showed when people moved, man, that's when they really spent the money on their home, even a new house. In fact, electricians got a lot of work, even on a brand new house, when people would move into it. And I was like, how in the world? Until I had it happen to me. And when we moved in, my wife wants to change the fixtures and this and that. And, you do, before you know it, you spend a bunch of money. So when people are moving, guess what? The trades are busy. And when people are building in commercial, it trickles down into the residential world as well. So yeah, we've got a surge coming, and if the smart contractors are going to be prepping for that today, because they've leaned up a little bit. So back during COVID, it was, if they could fog a mirror, let's hire them. We need the people. Please come on, help. Let's go to work. And then it got to, oh no, it got a little tough. And everyone started thinking, we got to get efficient. We got to lean up. And I saw something I haven't seen in a long time. They were actually downsizing some of their technicians, which that was like unheard of. You don't let, even if the tech wasn't that great, company really didn't want to let them go, but they did that. And now here's what's happened. I mean, the work has still been steady and things are still growing. And a lot of people forgot to go back and start building that bench of tomorrow's technicians. And now they look up and they're like, wow, we're getting busy again. We're stacked up for 2 weeks. Well, guess what? That's not a great thing considering what's coming. It's not too late, but now is the time to start back your 110% recruiting and your building of technicians, because you're going to need them coming in the future.
And then that leans in actually to point number 2, the big thing that we identified earlier, which is the insurgence, the big growth of AI in here. So we know that even if you could keep all your technicians, you're going to grow and you're going to need more, but they're not going to be there. So how can you get like a 2x? How can you kind of double your output with the same amount of people? It's not about cutting. It's about how can you do more when no more techs are available. And AI is the thing. So what you're seeing right now is with, generative AI and LLMs, you may hear all these little buzzwords. You're going to hear a buzzword called agentic. That's a new one. Basically, that is automation of workflows and things like that. The big thing to keep in mind is these are like digital employees to help you do some things that are in the office. Whereas your technicians out in the field, you're never going to be able to replace hands-on wires and things like that. However, you may be able to make things more efficient for them where they're not having to dial back to the home office, or they're better prepped when they walk in, or they're not having to go back and forth for parts, those kinds of things. So there is automation that is in process right now. ServiceTitan is working on that as well to help with these, kind of add that 2x multiple for a digital worker to help your technicians, an assistant in the field, an assistant in the office, so that you can scale better without having to try and, fight whatever the economy is going to determine is a fair bearing wage for what you need as a technician, so you can still stay profitable. So definitely AI is kind of like another way. So as you're trying to prep this, keep AI in mind as not as a way in which to kind of duplicate your effort, duplicate your resources. Consider them a digital employee that's here to help you, so that if you can't get the actual human there, digital is a good way to go.
So many times we've heard the buzzword of AI, even TI, Titan Intelligence, and I look at some contractors and they just have like a glossy look across their face. They're like, I don't chat GPT. I don't know. Didn't tell me what was the best restaurant to eat at last night, whatever. It's way past that. It's really about, unlocking expertise in different specific areas of your business to make your team way more efficient and way more productive, and frankly, way smarter. So I was visiting with Tom Howard just yesterday, and we were talking about, AI or TI and the ability for CSR/dispatcher being totally an agent, versus a human. And I was like, man, how does that work? Is that going to work out good? And he's like, think about this, Chris. He said, our lead salesperson, when we were beta testing all this, their biggest complaint in the past was mistakes that the call taker made or the dispatcher. Man, they didn't get this info. They sent me to this job. This wasn't even a good lead. Well, AI doesn't know any of that. All it knows is how to do this really well. And if it ever doesn't, you give it a little feedback And this thing gets smarter and smarter and smarter. And next thing you know, he said their sales team absolutely loves it. He said, because guess what? It's like doing the perfect job every time, getting exactly what they need and what they want. And so it's unlocked that expertise for them. And as a business owner, myself, I was a technician, then a business owner. And my first expertise was being really technical and fixing air conditioners. So whenever I had to make the leap to figure out how do I grow a business, well, I had to start to learn all these different things, from marketing to finance to operations. And it's just simply overwhelming. That's the beauty of ServiceTitan and TI. It helps you unlock each one of these little areas of your business without you having to be the expert or going and hiring the expert to do it. So I think it's going to be so key. And Deanna, Josh, there's one, we talk about recruiting and technician shortage, but really, frankly, I think there's one significant job that almost every company needs at least one, maybe more of, but that is the ServiceTitan administrator, somebody that can come in and help unlock all these areas. They don't have to know how to do it all. They just have to know how to get that area plugged in, optimized so that your business can run really efficiently. And think about the impact that would make if you had someone that actually knew how to leverage this technology, optimize it. Because if not, you're paying a third party to come in and do it, right? I'm very familiar with that. You pay the third party, they come in, they do a great job of optimizing the software for you. But what if you could hire your internal person, don't forget about them, and say, hey, look, I need this thing to run as awesome as it can run. ServiceTitan does so many things. We just need to learn how to unlock each one of them, and that's your job. Go in, find out how do we unlock each area of these businesses with what product they've already got built. And I guarantee you'll see a huge, huge productivity shift in your business.
Yeah, huge call out for that ServiceTitan certified user program. I'll put a link in the description of this episode for how you can get started there. And what's great about the new version is there's levels now. There's you start off as an explorer, you go to navigator, commander, and then broken up into there's residential paths, commercial, there's both, there's construction. And within each of those, they have various roles as well for inventory, for technicians. So really anyone at your business can become a certified user, and there's several paths for them. So we'll put a link in the description there. Super important to be able to get familiar with this technology and the future of this technology with AI. I do want to double click into AI a bit. And Deanna, I want to give you your flowers. You were Titan Intelligence. That was your thing.
That's her baby.
Years ago. I think it was I want to say 3 years ago where
April 2022 at Pantheon.
Wow. Okay.
That's
April
where we
2022. I think there were a couple Pricebook Pro features, smart recommendations, price insights were the first two. And now I feel like Titan Intelligence and AI is everywhere in the product. Could you maybe share a little bit about what are some of the exciting core and pro, wherever AI is impacting and what to look out for?
Hey, Josh, real quick, before you jump in, let her do that. I remember when Deanna came on and I had my first call with her. And all I knew was Deanna data. I was like, well, what's this going to be about? And she started telling me what she had done in her past and what they had unlocked. And right away, mind's blown. I'm like, I get it. Oh my gosh, this is coming to the trades now. So I'm telling you, she has over delivered what I could have dreamed of what that first meeting. And I was so excited then. So we are very lucky to have you, Deanna. And I appreciate all you're doing for contractors too.
I love this industry, and I love the business, and I love ServiceTitan and you all. So it's always easy and fun. What's coming for ServiceTitan? Oh my gosh, I can't even. I'm without words. You're going to hear about Assist. We announced it and launched it, or at least announced it last year at Pantheon. I will say, make sure if you can be at Pantheon this year, you want to be at Pantheon, because you will start to see the fruition of those initial. This is what we're working on. Those kinds of things are going to be announced at Pantheon. With that said, Titan Intelligence has become, since April 2022, it has become part of the fabric of ServiceTitan. So all the products have adopted or are adopting, as we speak, different parts of AI throughout. And Titan Intelligence specifically, and for those who think of AI, TI is just AI, AI and ServiceTitan's making a letter change. It's more than that, because we have folks like Chris Hunter, like Tom Howard, like Ellen Rohr and Angie Snow. We have experts in this field. So when we are, and I'm going to be a little geeky now, when we are tuning algorithms and working on LLMs that are specific to us, and I get this question from customers as well as large companies who are looking at, should we go with ServiceTitan or somewhere else? Are your AI really yours or is it someone else's? It's really ours. We are using our information and our data and our expertise in the realm of HVAC specifically, plumbing, electrical, garage doors, irrigation, roofing, you name it. That is not just a general ChatGPT LLM that you're out there. Like ours is very specific to our industry, and that's what makes us. That is our secret sauce. Is we're able to use our data to determine best workflows, best processes, what's going on, what are the trends. It's one of the reasons why we actually were spotted I went back and looked at this for Vahe recently. And I said, no, we called the replace versus repair early. And I said, if I recall, it was like 2023, end of 2022. We said, we're starting to sniff at this. We're starting to see the trend. And the way we were able to see the trend was we started to see the ticket volumes change. We started to see the ticket sizes change. We started to see things like credit card charge amount changes, because a lot of this is how credit charges are being done. So we quickly grouped together and said, okay, Chris, Tom, when this happens, how would you handle your business? And that's why we're able to give like more specific diagnosis and recommendations that are really tailored, is because we're in the industry. So what I'm seeing in Titan Intelligence this year is what you're going to see is the AI help you. And it's going to still have, while we could go all the way to the right, and I'm remembering the April 2022 Pantheon, which is like, it's a slow move, like a traffic lane, you're making the turn. We're not going to take a sharp right and start coasting and have our wheels go out from under this. We recognize that there are places where humans should be in the loop still. And also there's a comfort level and a trust level, and we want to earn your trust with regards to the data and outcomes and things we're delivering. And so we're going to show you what the information, like show you outcomes, projected outcomes forecast. We're going to tell you how we got there. We're going to tell you what our recommendations are, and we're going to allow you to choose whether you want to take them, whether you want to wait and see. But we're also going to remind you later on, like, these are the results of the outcomes that happened. We said this was going to happen. Demand suddenly is changing, or cost of ads is changing, and we're recommending changes. This is what the cost savings would be. And you'll be able to automate as you begin to earn, as we earn your trust or our customers' trust, you will be able to take advantage of that and say, you know what, I don't need to see that you're going to always tag, certain kinds of things or do certain things for me. Like, just do it for me. Just go ahead and reconcile all accounts that are off by 1 cent or $1. Like, somebody obviously did a typo. I don't want to look at that anymore. It's too much of my time. So $1 reconciliation, go. So there are going to be things that are going to be able to automate very quickly, but we're always going to leave the customer in the loop until they decide they're ready to give us the keys to the car.
I love this theme, and it's really interesting how we're building a relationship really with AI tools and how to trust them. I think a good example of this is Dispatch Pro. When we launched it, it automatically assigns jobs, and then you have to override it if you decide, hey, you know what, let me just give this to another technician. And now with Dispatch Assist, we say, hey, let's surface up the recommendations on what Dispatch Pro would decide, and you can accept them or not. And so really cool to see that we can allow customers and contractors to have that flexibility of seeing what AI would do, accept it, and then over time they learn, hey, they're making the best decisions anyway, let's just let this thing run.
So I'll tell you one place that I've heard, and I want to alleviate, is that, wow, if AI can do all this, how do I stay competitive? Because if everybody has the same kind of car, how do I win the race? What makes it, we all have the same engine? And the answer is, you will be allowed to customize it still to what makes you special. And I give an example of one of my favorite companies that's local here in Arizona. They're a commercial company, and they do HVAC, plumbing, electrical. And they were talking to me about, what is code? So if they're putting two pipes together or something, code is, 1 hour cure. But they do 2 hours, because what they found is when they do 2 hours, they have less rework done. They have more high quality. But would that be something that everyone does? No, that's specific to them. So when recommendations, whether it's field assist that is helping technicians in the field or something, These are the kinds of things that each business, each tenant, as we call them, or each business is going to be able to customize and make it theirs. Another example is as we're building these AI agents and AI digital employees, you probably have a couple technicians that you think are rock stars. And so you may not want to tailor your particular assistant to all technicians. You might want to just tailor it to the two rock star technicians. So you can actually say, if you're going to learn anything from technicians, follow these two technicians, tell me their workflow processes, automate that, and then I'm going to make that a process change across everyone in the recommendations. So how those two rock stars operate and solve problems and how they do things gets to proliferate. And so you keep your special sauce with you, and it doesn't go out until no one else is allowed to have that.
And speaking of special sauce, Josh and Deanna, there's one thing that we just can't leave out. I mean, with all the technology that's out there, all the AI, everything that it can do, it's a whole lot of this secret sauce still boils down to leadership and the culture. Because at the end of the day, there's still got to be a friendly technician in there making that final contact with the homeowner. But all the tools that set them up for success, to get there, to do the job correctly, to be trained, have everything optimized, prepares them for that final successful relationship moment. So those other companies that I've noticed with the bimodal distribution, they've all been super strong in their leadership, and their cultures have all been amazing. And so that was their secret sauce as well. So just, I'm not really directly ServiceTitan related, but ultimately very, very important.
Yeah, Chris, if someone's listening right now and they sense that there's some opportunity areas in their business in terms of leadership, in terms of culture, do you have any actionable advice or tips of where to learn or how to skill up in this area?
Yeah. So, I mean, the great thing about everyone in this industry is everybody is very, very open to share. So if you ever go do a shop tour of someone that's known for that, you get it. Like, oh man, wow, they've got it. And this is, I want to learn why. But two, if they've never even thought about it, didn't even know they really needed to raise their lid. So I'm a huge John Maxwell fan. I'm a study of his. In fact, I went through his whole certification. But if they could ever just do one thing, if they could read or go to a mastermind of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, it will be an eye-opener. And they'll start to realize that, wow, this is not about me, it's about we, and how do we raise this lid, and how do we increase our influence, and all this type of stuff. But so those are my two recommendations. One, go see it in person at another shop. If you can't do that immediately, at least dive into that one book, I'm telling you, or do a mastermind with it. It'll change the way you lead your company.
Awesome. Such a good piece of advice. I know we touched a lot on AI, and there's this tightening of the labor market, and one aspect is how do we get more out of our people with AI. You can trust ServiceTitan. We're really ahead on AI, lots more to come. Check out the STCU. Make sure your team is certified on ServiceTitan so they can stay up to date. They can be the ones to help you all implement this. On the other end of the spectrum, we talked a little bit about recruiting and what can you do with this labor market, shortening labor market in terms of hiring new people and getting that bench ready, Chris? And also, how do you retain the current people that you have? Do you have any tips there?
Yeah, I mean, so the recruiting is an all the time thing. So don't just wait until, oh man, we're short two technicians, throw an ad out and we'll see if we can get one to stick. It's just a constantly grooming and looking for the right type of people that you may have to train. I'm affiliated with Go Time Success Group. I'm very passionate about training technicians. We have a training school in Dallas, and that's what we do. They train a green technician, and in a couple weeks they can be up and running. That's HVAC only, but that shameless plug there, by the way. But always be looking for the great people. And then two is having a process for this, right? So many people just wing it and think, okay, how do we do it? But you go visit the Tommy Mellos or really anybody that's very successful. I guarantee you they have a process for their whole onboarding, their training, they're bringing people up to speed, and they're good at it, and then there's a lot of people that are even leveraging AI tools. Don't be surprised if you don't see this at ServiceTitan at some point in time with the recruiting aspect as well. But think of recruiting just like you would marketing. If you may be really great at going out and getting a customer, but you're terrible at using the same type of tools to go out and find someone to come work. Think of it like that.
If there's someone listening out there and they're not very good at recruiting and they're listening, they're like, oh my gosh, we have no process. What's something that they can start with?
Well, what I tell everyone is just define first what is the target person you want at your company. What are those core values? So that way you're not just looking everywhere at anybody and everything. You actually know who and what you're looking for. And Josh, have you ever thought about, I want to get a red pickup because I don't, there's not very many of them out there. And then all of a sudden you got red pickup on your mind and you drive down the street and you look around and all you see is red pickups. You're like, my goodness. Same thing goes with that. If you know what your target employee is, the personality traits, what they're like, who fits in best. Next thing you know, you may be getting your oil changed and go, wow, that person looks like they would be a great fit, at this company. Or you could be, who knows, at a restaurant and someone just has great customer service. So once you define really what you're looking for, step one, it's amazing what'll open up to you if you just keep your eyes open. And that's without having to go out and place any ads or do anything else, no matter what. That's just personal thing that every company can do.
We looked back at 2024. We looked at the current state with the bimodal distribution, some of the trends up ahead with shortage of labor, materials. We have AI. What are some things in ServiceTitan now that listeners can take away of what they should take advantage for the rest of this year?
Well, Deanna's team's working on some really killer stuff. But there's one thing that I just learned about here a while back. We mentioned it on the last webinar that we did as well. But if we think about what we're really trying to accomplish here, we're really trying to stay efficient, right? And we're trying to do more with less. We're trying to make it super productive. And how do we do that? It's through capacity. So in the past in ServiceTitan, managing capacity was, how do I put it? It sucked. It was bad. Okay. All right. It was hard to do. I mean, it's great if you got it figured out, but if you didn't ever get it figured out, then it was tough. And people are using, spreadsheets and everything else. And most people would say, oh, wow, we need more leads. We need more leads. We need more technicians. But if they just looked at their capacity and what they were truly optimized or utilizing out of that capacity, it would probably scare them to death because they were probably around the 30 to 40% efficient range. And in the past, everyone just assumed a company was 50%. It's not the case. It's lower. It's way lower if they're not really taking action on it. So this adaptive capacity planning that we have coming out, I'm excited about it. It's going to actually supersede and replace all the other capacity options that are out there. It's going to use some really smart TI tools that are involved with it. There's going to be reporting on it so they can, what gets measured gets done, essentially. So we can report on what our actual capacity is for the day, the week, things like that. So that's one specific one. But why I'm really excited about it, remember that word unlock? It's going to start to unlock a lot of things for you in the future. The more things that you want to leverage TI with like Marketing Pro or Scheduling Pro, all the different products and things that we're putting out, this ecosystem now is going to thrive through this capacity management plan. So adaptive capacity. ServiceTitan has a lot of cool things. We're trying to get your attention on a lot of things, but this one is awesome because it can help you unlock all these different efficiencies throughout ServiceTitan.
It's really funny because everyone I ask basically has been talking about adaptive capacity planning. We just had a webinar today and they're like, what are you most excited for? That was the feature. So
really?
By the time this episode comes out, it should be out, I think. And so, if not, keep an eye out for it. That should be coming GA very, very soon. I did also want to close with the benchmark report. Deanna, if people have never heard of the benchmark report before, what is it and where can they go get it?
The benchmark report is available for each eligible customer. Make sure you're opted into your data preferences. Is available in Titan Advisor. It's in the upper right-hand corner near the rocket. You'll see a download your benchmark report. They are published every quarter. So a new one will be available on May 1st. So make sure you go there. It is a report. Think of it like almost a competitive analysis / diagnostic tool that helps you. It's something that ServiceTitan provides to all our customers. It's part of your core product, and it allows you to see where you are relative to customers who are like you, where you're ranking. And you can use that we call it a percentile. Think of it like you're 80% better than other businesses like you. So think of it as almost a proxy for market share. So you kind of watch your percentile over time. If your percentile is growing, even if your market share is remaining, even though your revenue is remaining constant, it means you're gaining market share. You're going from 80 to 85 to 90, regardless of whatever your revenue amount is. It means that businesses like you're moving faster. You're getting a higher rank. So now you're 85% higher than most businesses like you. Now you're 95% more. And consequently, on the other side, for businesses who think, I'm knocking it out of the park, I've got 12% growth and like, I'm awesome. And you're seeing that the share decreasing. And I think for those who are in the bimodal, some of them aren't paying attention to that number and they're not seeing that. They're thinking the revenue is growing, but actually they're losing share as we speak. And back to Chris's thing, I'm seeing some businesses, they had a 200% growth. And we're not talking about small number businesses. We're talking about businesses doing 24 to 35 million a year, jumping to 50 to 65, 70 million in a year. And on the other side, we're talking about businesses who were 25 million dropping to 8. So you really want to pay attention to some of these numbers. They help you. You might ask, how's my pricing? There's an install average ticket price, and there's a service. Use it as a diagnostic tool, more so than I need to change my exact pricing from this number to this number. It's more of where am I tracking relative to everyone else? And if you're not tracking within a good range, then probably dig a little bit more into there. And your success manager will be able to help you with that as well. I'm in constant contact with the success managers as well.
Awesome. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I'm sure some of you listening are really competitive and you want to know that number and see where you stack up. Definitely check out that rocket ship at the top right-hand corner in Titan Advisor to get your benchmark report today. And with that, we will wrap it up here. Deanna and Chris, thank you so much for joining us again. I know we do this quarterly. It's like one of my favorite things at ServiceTitan. It's like, I feel like we should title this like looking into the crystal ball or something, because you guys are just like calling the future. It's really cool.
We appreciate you, Josh. Thanks for allowing us to be a part of it, buddy.